Welcome to Partners Dog School, one of the highest rated schools in the Southwest region. We've truly seen it all because we've worked with over 55,000 dogs and successfully helped build a better relationship with their pet parents. Today, our training journey is going to cover Aiden, a dog that spent the past 4 weeks with us to cover reactivity, build some confidence, and address some of the insecurity issues they've been having at home. Let's get started.
Aiden's owner, Dana, tells us that she needs his behavior managed and better controlled at home, especially with any aggression that he displays to either her or other family members. She also mentioned that when he goes to the vet, he's had a few bites and was recently removed from another vet office, which only complicates things more for Dana.
Well, this is Aiden. I'm Dana. I'm his mom. He's a German Shepherd, as you can see, a very large German Shepherd. I love him. He's very sweet to me, but I did notice that when he was a puppy, maybe about 4 months old, that it seemed to be a bit aggressive. He would scare me. He would corner me into a corner and bark, and it wasn't playful. I was afraid and took him to a trainer.
Prior to Partners, Dana had already taken Aiden through other training classes with previous trainers. Sadly, she mentioned that another place had suggested euthanization, and we knew that our staff could avoid this at all costs. Our mission is to ensure Dana continues to have a lifelong relationship with her dog, and our team promised that we would work very hard to achieve that mission.
Hi, I'm Caroline, one of the senior instructors and team success managers over at Partners. Upon meeting with Dana and learning about Aiden, it was a really interesting story that she was telling us. What was most interesting to me in the beginning was I actually didn't get to meet Aiden at first. I didn't get to meet him until after Dana and I had previously talked. So I was really interested to see exactly what the reactivity looked like and exactly, how he looked like when we had, our hands on him, got to start working with him. In the beginning, Leighton did a decent amount of the talking with Dana during our first appointment, and he helped me a lot during the initial steps working with Aiden on rotating him out of the kennel. And Chase helped me a lot there as well during our first time we took him out of the kennel during that first night to take him for rotation. But definitely Leighton was a huge help in the beginning to show me how to work with Aiden, where he's bigger than I am. Aiden is. So learning how to not use, strength with him, but technique and a lot of skill.
He's definitely got some control. There, that's better. Good. Hey, sit. No, good. Yes.
Eventually, I was ready to take on the challenge with him, and it was exciting.
All right, hello, my name is Chase. I'm a senior instructor here at our Scottsdale location. My first initial thoughts on Aiden was definitely excitement. Before even seeing the dog, I kind of read up on some of his notes, saw he had a lot of incidents, a lot of behavioral issues, and definitely working with those, big working breeds, the Shepherds, Pitties, things like that. When they have those behavioral issues is the training that I'm really passionate about. Taking those dogs from day one and then seeing that full transformation.
All right, so it was really interesting recapping with Chase and Caroline about Aiden's check-in today. Definitely a lot of issues that we have to address, and to be honest, it's going to be a little bit tough to get through some of these things. One of the problems with dealing with reactivity or aggression is that you're always relying on the dog to make the right decision at the end of the day, and you're relying on the parent to put the dog in the right position to be successful. Those are two things that might sound easy, but can be very hard when you try to put it into practice. So let's hope that we can work with Aiden over the next couple weeks, address some of the reactivity that he's obviously brought in here for, build some of his confidence up, and we'll see what we get at the end of the program.
During Aiden's first week here, I worked through building up a relationship with him and getting him to just learn to trust me and work for me and no longer work for himself. Some of the main things we worked a lot on was rotation just out of the kennel. So we have to get him out of the kennel. We have to work on rotating him. Chase has been such a huge help with him as well during the whole process. It was really great to have another experienced person and someone that is so supportive and helpful as Chase is to be right alongside me. So when I did need help and I needed, another person there as backup or just as, again, a support system, he was always right there and he was able to tackle any of the challenges with me that I was facing. Moving into week 2, Aiden really started improving with his obedience. We were able to work on a little bit more of advanced resets. We were working on our sit and down on the moves and getting him to work around more people and other dogs, which of course were the biggest triggers for him initially when he came in. Some of the biggest challenges for me was the emotional side of things.
After working with Aiden for the first couple days, I started to see the training that we were doing taking into effect. And I believe it was about on his 4th or 5th day or so, for his first few days, every single time many of us would walk in to the facility, Aiden was right there to greet us with a big old growl on his face. He was jumping up at his kennel, putting his feet on the doors, trying to break out of there, lunging, barking at us, didn't want us walking near his kennel, definitely just telling us, hey, get away from me, things like that. And then, another big step for him was when we finally actually got him into daycare. He was never too aggressive with the other dogs. It was more like a people issue, but definitely did have that kind of reactivity, just some unsettlingness, anxiousness, and things like that. I saw Aiden's behaviors almost initially. He was lighting all of us up, lit up Max, our camera guy. He was definitely a dog that was very reactive, and he had Mom wrapped around her fingers. Very, very out of control, but in control at the same time. In their relationship, he was definitely the pack leader, and I can very easily see that within the first 30 seconds of seeing the dog. And then after we kind of discussed with Dana his real behaviors and just kind of everything that he has done through his life, we learned that he had multiple bites on him, very, very reactive out on walks towards dogs, totally in control in the household, cornering Mom, taking advantage of her mom, things like that. So coming in, this was definitely a dog that just didn't have any structure. He knew every exit point of, ways to get out of all his obedience that he had already done. So, I very quickly saw that this was going to be a challenge for us. Again, I knew that he had worked with 2-3 other trainers, and, I saw that he had the foundational there. But obviously, wasn't a huge success for us, so I kind of felt a lot of pressure working with him and Aiden, just because he kind of like a more serious life or death situation, so there's a lot of pressure on it, and him being a big 130-pound dog. But very quickly, once he kind of got comfortable here, he learned our routine, he learned that we weren't messing around anymore, and the structure side of things fell rather quickly, and we were very quickly able to build up that relationship. And then once we kind of had that relationship, that's really when I started to get my full confidence working with this big 130-pound aggressive shepherd. When we were doing soch and stuff like that, being able to safely correct him, pull him out of those dogs. Once I really had that relationship, I was definitely confident doing all that work with him.
Dana came by for her demo, and I thought it went extremely well. The first initial greeting got a little chaotic because he was really excited to see his mom, but we worked through it and got him to settle down and get to a manageable point. At that point, we were able to work on all of his obedience, which he did phenomenal for Dana. For Aiden's second working demo, Liam ended up taking a little bit during the initial introduction since he was very, very excited. So he worked down, got him to say hello, and we actually went and took him for a walk with Dana. This is where he got to experience a lot of the real world. You could see he was very curious about everything going on, but we could layering in our foundation, and Dana handled him a bit, and he did very well with that as well.
This last week has been phenomenal with him, whether it's been his soch, his foundational training, his obedience, his confidence, his reactivity, socialization with both those dogs, people, things like that. I definitely believe in him. I don't think he's going to give us any issues, but I'm hoping that that obedience transfers over to Dana. I know 4 weeks ago before he started, he definitely ran the ship, was very, very in control over her. Now that relationship is going to have to change. So that's what I'm the most excited to see today, is just how Dana is able to kind of, handle him now, change up that relationship. She has to be the pack leader, the alpha dog in this new relationship for them. And just seeing how her anxiety kind of settles down. She's going to be a lot more comfortable now working this dog, but very, very happy to see how they're going to do together today.
Before we send Aiden home, it is absolutely critical that we teach Dana not only how to work and continue to build that relationship with him, but really feel confident and comfortable handling his incredible size and strength and ability to take control of a situation. So over this last week, we're not only going to be working with Aiden on correcting that reactivity, making sure he's making good decisions, but we're also going to build a lot of boundaries and structures into his life that Dana then can continue and transition home effectively.
Today, Aiden goes home. I'm a little sad. I'm going to miss his greeting me in the morning. As soon as I walk in, he gives me a big smile, taking him out of the kennel and giving me his belly for belly rubs. And of course, just, working with him. Really gonna miss him and miss all the times that we're having together. But I know I'm gonna see him again really soon. I'm gonna make sure that Dana knows that she needs to continue to hold him accountable, give him a lot of structure at home. There's gonna be more boundaries, like utilizing the crate, keeping him on the leash and collar, not allowing so much free time and free access to all of the resources. He doesn't get food left down all day. There's gonna be designated meal time.
It is absolutely critical for the owners that we work with to not just pay for training, but to actually practice their training. If they're not comfortable in implementing the protocols at home, implementing those boundaries, and maybe even teaching some new things down the line, then eventually their dog is going to regress on the previous behaviors they came in for. So that's why the transition phase home with parents is really, really important to nail. Otherwise, we'll see Aiden back here in a few weeks. At this point of the process, we rely heavily on the owners to make the right decisions, to follow the protocols that we've put in place, and to ensure that they're continuing to practice the training with their dog. In this case, Dana has a tough task ahead to find a veterinarian that will work with Aiden's size and the reactivities that he's experienced in the past. But we're confident that they're able to find that veterinarian and that Dana is able to continue that practice, continue that work with Aiden so that they are successful in the long term. As we wait for them to come back over the next week, we want to make sure that Dana and Aiden are taking time to practice each day, that their protocols are being followed very strictly at home, and that Dana feels comfortable in taking Aiden out into the world in the upcoming weeks so they can continue to practice on that desensitization, on that socialization, and of course on making the correct decisions when faced with any particular challenges or hurdles that would have led to bad reactivity in the past.
Now that it is our follow-up, I was ready to see Aiden and Dana and see how things were going at home. And she said he was doing really, really great. There was a little bit of testing that he's doing, which is expected in the beginning as he is learning, a new way of living in the home with her, again, with all the structure and boundaries that he's now experiencing. When he did come in for his follow-up, we were able to work on so much. I took them out for a little walk around the complex, and we passed many distractions of kids and people and other dogs, and we didn't get any reactivity. And then make them come all the way back.
Okay.
There you go.
So I can do
so
this.
now I want you, have them come all the way back.
And turn
And
around
there
and
we
reset.
go, yep.
Okay.
So sometimes we'll recommend that parents keep their dogs at home for the first week or two after returning from training. This is so that they're able to establish those boundaries and structures that we've talked about, and it allows for the opportunity to rely on their parents more as opposed to getting that gratification from their outdoor walks. Now, of course, after that, a couple weeks have passed and they've settled back into their environment, we do want to encourage going out into the world, practicing their training and around those distractions, around higher energy environments. And then, of course, in the long term, that's going to be a very, very essential part of being successful with their dog.
By the end of his camp, just seeing him able to be off leash in that yard, running around, being a dog, doing his obedience, to me, I think that's the biggest success about all of this, is taking him from that dog that he was day one and then seeing him in daycare 3 weeks later. So that's definitely one of my proudest moments of what we did with Aiden.
All right, so now we hope that we see Aiden and Dana back for their pet parenting classes. I'll be completely honest with you guys, some parents don't really take advantage of those, and that can lead to regression in their dog's training. What happens is that they don't take that time to practice, they're not working around distractions, and so their dog eventually regresses back into the previous behavior that they came in for. So those classes are absolutely essential to not only continue that training with their dog, continue to build that relationship for the parent, but it also gives the parent time to practice their own skills and techniques that they need to learn in order to be successful and hold their dog accountable moving forward into the future.
Aiden and Dana came for their very first pet parenting class, which again, I'm super thrilled and so impressed on how they worked together and how well Aiden did with all the other dogs and all the other clients around. I was initially hesitant on getting them into group class so soon because I didn't know how Aiden was going to do. I know he did well with me, but when Dana was handling and now she's communicating with him and it's not just me, I wasn't sure how he was going to do. So we slowly kind of worked him in the room. I initially started off. Once I felt confident that he was doing really well, I handed over the leash and Dana worked him the rest of the class. and he was fantastic. I'm so, so proud of them, and I can't wait to see what else they're gonna do in the future.
Aiden could be strong and he could be silent. I guess he doesn't, I remember somebody said, "Oh, let me see your dog," and I pulled up the blinds, and there Aiden was. He was a puppy, he was 9 months old, and he was snarling and drool and slobber was dripping out of it. And the person was like, "Oh my God." You know, but that doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make Aiden happy. And I think he's becoming a much happier boy. He's already a beautiful boy, but we're very appreciative. Having him work with different types of people at different skill levels, I think it's making his experience more well-rounded, so he doesn't pick and choose who he listens to and when he chooses to listen. And, you know, to be honest, it's been a godsend because I feel like I have my house back, and I almost feel like I had the dog that I had in my head when I got him.
Well, there you have it. Another successful training journey with our dog, Aiden. We're so proud of him and Dana, and the two of them are hopefully going to be coming back for group classes here in the next few weeks. And we're really excited to see as Aiden improves his manners and behaviors over the next few months.